Ladies and gentlemen, Bernie Sanders has indicated that if Biden decides not to run, he may want to run again for president in 2024. Just quick top of the video thing. As I said yesterday, I'm not in my normal home studio. I'll be back there next week. This entire week, though, I'll be in a little temporary space here. So this is huge, and I'm so conflicted on it. It hurts me. Let's just first lay out, okay, what are the facts of this story that we're talking about today? Okay, well, a while back, people close to Bernie Sanders sent out a memo to the public saying that Bernie has not ruled out running in 2024 for president as long as Biden is not running. So Bernie's been asked multiple times, would you run against Biden? He said no, which I think, of course, is the correct position to take. There would be no reason to try to challenge Biden. But increasingly, I think as we're all aware, people are wondering, wait, should Biden try to run again? Because every time Biden's asked, he said he is planning on it. But you look at his age, but it's not just his age, because you can be sharp at that age, as we're going to talk about with Bernie. It's the things that have come along with Biden's age. And so he is a lot less sharp, a lot less quick, a lot less able to communicate his ideas now in his older age. You know, Trump called him Sleepy Joe, and there is an element of he just seems kind of tired all the time and doesn't have that energy and passion you would need to run a strong campaign against whoever the 2024 Republican nominee is, Trump, DeSantis, whoever. But regardless, we know if Biden does decide to run, Bernie isn't running. But while a lot of people in kind of the Democratic sphere are starting to think that Biden may not be the right option, maybe Biden will get the message and move along. And that's where this story comes into play. So as I mentioned, people close to him released a memo saying that he hasn't ruled out running, and a person close to the process said Sanders approved the concept and execution of the memo. So that's big, because it's not just, oh no, that was a private discussion, I wasn't intending on people hearing that, I'm just barely leaving the door open, but it's not a serious thing. If he looked over the memo, talked about it with his team, and said send it out, that means he's really considering a 2024 run. Okay, so now we have the facts. Bernie Sanders is considering running in 2024. How do I feel about this? All right, so as I said at the top, I am so conflicted, and here's why. My heart, it's with Bernie, guys. I just watched his debate with Lindsey Graham, and the whole time I was like nearly choked up at how much better he is than all of these other Democrats at effectively communicating the message of the Democratic Party. We have people like Biden and Pelosi representing our message, and I'm sorry, while both of them have done good things, they're not great communicators at this point in their lives. I don't know. I'm just saying they're not good communicators, but Bernie is so good. And something that I tweeted out, don't forget to follow me, Luke P. Beasley on Twitter, was if the entire Democratic Party could message as effectively as Bernie does and go back to those core issues people care about and talk about real solutions, we would be in a much better situation as a party. And one of the things I clarified in that tweet was people don't have to be as far left as progressive as him. All Democrats don't have to do that. That won't even play well in a lot of areas in the country. So be your little moderate self, but message and be able to communicate as effectively as Bernie does. So with that being said, I watch him speak. I watch him talk about the issues that I really want to address in this country and proposing really amazing solutions to them. And of course, my heart gets soft and I think back to his other campaigns and I'm like, he can do it again, but this time actually overcome and win. But it is such a tough situation to be in and there's a few reasons. The first is the stink of losing 2 consecutive presidential primaries. It's not great. People like winners, and when they just watched you lose twice, that is going to hurt you a little bit, and people will think, oh, is that person not electable? We just watched them lose twice. Now, of course, that's not something that can be overcome, but it's definitely something to take into account. The second big thing, and this isn't in order of importance, it's just kind of a bag of things, is his age. The main reason people feel like Biden is no longer as good at communicating is because he's a lot older. But Bernie's older than that. Bernie's 80 years old. So he would be 82 or something in 2024. So I feel like if people decide they don't want to go with Biden because he doesn't seem like the right candidate, and one of the big reasons is he's too old, not as sharp as he used to be, then going with another really, really old candidate might be aesthetically hard for people, even though, and I have to say this clearly, just because you're old doesn't mean you can't be super effective at communicating still. And Bernie is an amazing example of that. Like I said, I think he's a year older than Biden, and he is just as sharp as he's ever been. Like I mentioned, I watched the Lindsey Graham debate with Bernie Sanders, and Bernie's so sharp. He knows which points he wants to make. He knows how to make them effectively. And he appeals both to the logical part of people's brains and to the emotional parts. And that's really hard to do as a politician. Clearly, a lot of politicians are horrible at it, but he is just so good. And so I personally am less concerned about the age thing because he seems to be in a lot better health and still very sharp. But I understand if that's a thing we're starting to get concerned with, that a lot of our politicians are way too old to be serving and be in the best health they can be to serve us the best that they can, then I understand a lot of people may not feel comfortable going with Bernie. And then the third reason, and I don't know how I feel about this, but this is just something I know is in people's heads, is Bernie too stained as the radical socialist for him to overcome that label and present very logical, I think, moderate ideas to the American people? So what I mean by that is he is thought of in America as the far left candidate. And so while other people could come along and stand for all the same policy things he stands for, they may not have that label so attached to him. And he did say he was a democratic socialist, and of course a lot of people, the term socialism scares them away. As kind of a side note, that was brought up in his debate with Lindsey Graham, and it was just a great moment because he said, is it socialistic to want to give everyone Social Security? Is it socialistic to expand Medicare? And he just went down all these things that are extremely popular and was like, listen, if you're gonna try to slander me as a socialist, let's talk about what specifically you think makes me a socialist and why that's so bad. And so y'all know I'm not a socialist, but I also don't think a lot of the policies that Bernie pushes for in America right now are socialist. A lot of them are just social democratic policies, and y'all know I am a social democrat. So it's not like he's proposing this crazy radical socialist vision of America, but he is branded as that radical socialist. So would we be in a better situation to have someone bring forward those policies because they are very popular and great solutions to the problems we have in America, but have a little bit less of that baggage? I don't know. But then Bernie comes with a lot, y'all can see I'm so conflicted. Bernie comes with a lot of advantages because he already has so much name recognition. He already has the fundraising apparatus. And so he'd be able to reinvigorate his base and get a campaign moving a lot quicker and more effectively and possibly more impactfully than another candidate could. So to sum up, I think the reasons why it's concerning if he did run is he lost twice in the past. People might think, oh, he's just someone who's gonna lose. He is very old, and that's on the minds of people because of Biden and Trump and Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell. And he is very, very branded already by the other side. He's not a fresh candidate. He's very in the minds of people as possibly too radical, even though, again, y'all know, I don't believe that. Most of you, I don't think, believe that. But that is the label that has been given to him. And can he communicate past that and convince people, no, my policy positions are very, very moderate and very reasonable? But as I said at the beginning, I'm very conflicted because he's so good and so pure and has been pushing for the last however many years for all of these changes that need to be made. He doesn't take corporate PAC money. He's been consistent on those types of issues. He does have a big base of support already. He does have great name recognition, but with that name recognition comes some negative name recognition. My brain is absolutely melting on this thing. I want to hear what you guys have to say, so please leave comments below. 2024 is going to be absolutely wild, to say the least.